And I also believe that this will be a question and answer forum. Am I correct? Because otherwise, we've got some burning questions to ask.
Yes, you're right, Ntandazo. It's going to be a question and answer session. But as we start off, we'll have a presentation from the representative from ZETDC. And then after the presentation, we'll then have another presentation as well from a representative of the Devolution Champions. And then we'll open up for questions and answers. So if you've got any burning questions and answers, you can just keep them on hold until we're done with the presentations. But if they're too burning to be on hold, you might as well use the chat box and highlight all those questions there.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is...
Morning, Dudu.
Hi, Juliet. My name is Duduzile Matema, and I work at Women's Institute for Leadership Development. And I'll be the moderator for the day. And before we start today's engagement, I would like you to help me out with something very simple. Kindly include your name, your surname, and your designation or area you're coming from. And you can include all that information in the chat box. So as we start, you can just include all that information. That is your name, your surname, the area that you're representing. If there's a designation that you also want to include, you might as well do that, but you can do that on the chat box.
Okay. Sorry, Dudu, I have a question. If there are many people who are using one gadget, what are we going to do?
Okay, Juliet, since you're saying there's so many people using one gadget, to make it simpler for you, you might as well include all the names of the people in that particular gadget to make it simpler for us to actually track the number of people we managed to reach out to.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much once again for joining us for today's Stakeholder Engagement Meeting. And I'm sure many of you might be wondering why the Stakeholder Engagement Meeting. First and foremost, as I had said earlier, we're joined by an official from ZETDC. And the reason why we decided to reach out to ZETDC is the fact that there was a concern from the Devolution Champions who are in Cowdray Park on why there seems to be a need for them to be paying up a certain amount in the distribution and access to electricity, particularly in areas where there isn't any access to electricity at the present moment. So today's discussion will actually provide that platform whereby the representative from ZETDC will highlight what it entails or what it is that is expected of the residents, if there's anything that is expected of the residents in as far as access to electricity is concerned, and the role that ZETDC is playing in ensuring that residents in Cowdray Park can actually access electricity without having to face so much dispute or without having to face a lot of challenges. So I'd like to introduce to the panel Mr. Koronga, who is from ZETDC, will help us with the topic that reads, Assessing the Distribution and Access of Electricity in Cowdray Park. So Mr. Koronga is actually from ZETDC, as I've already said, and he will be the one who will be presenting on behalf of ZETDC. And if you've got any questions, can you kindly put them on hold? Kindly put them on hold at the present moment, and just type the questions that you have on the chat box. And then as soon as Mr. Koronga is done, if there is ample time to actually address to those questions, we'll try and address to those questions. But at the present moment, just make sure that as he presents, we try by all means to maintain silence and listen into the presentation. And for any questions that we have, we just include them in the chat box. And following Mr. Koronga will be a representative of the Devolution Champions, who happens to be Juliet Samson, who will present on the sentiment of the ongoing electricity exercise in Cowdray Park. And following that presentation, that's when we'll open up for questions and answers in case you feel there are certain things that might not have been highlighted clearly. So over to you, Mr. Koronga. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
we can hear you clearly. Yes, we can hear you clearly, Mr. Koronga.
Thank you. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to thank you for this opportunity. My name is Blessing. That's my first name, and the surname has already been said, Koronga. I will be representing ZESA. My designation there, I'm an engineer responsible for the projects that are ongoing in Cowdray Park. Following the question, to get full information from ZETDC on a request for contributions toward the resources for electricity supply, I would like to give you a bit of some background as far as projects are concerned. We've got quite a number of projects that are ongoing here in Bulawayo, particularly Bulawayo West District. Maybe let me just give you an overview of the demarcations. If I say Bulawayo West District, that means anything on the western side of Plumtree Road. That includes the whole of the industry, and we then go to the western suburbs, including Cowdray Park. That's Bulawayo West District. We've got quite a number of projects that are ongoing there. Just in brief, or just to mention a few, there is Mutunzini. It's an upcoming suburb. We've got Munganwini, we've got Mbunani, we've got Pelanda West, we've got Cowdray Park, and Cowdray Park is quite expanding. And when everything is equal and everything is normal, ZETDC is supposed to be doing or carrying out such projects. But at the moment, due to unavailability of resources, some clients, they forthcome to ZETDC, request to contribute some funds so that their project can kickstart. Here at ZETDC, there are some forms that we have. Maybe I can just go through the forms so that you understand the contents of the forms. Let me just go through them. We call them indemnity forms. Here it reads, please be advised that ZETDC Western Region no longer accepts any form of help from customers or the provision of electricity service. Please understand that this is a corporate or ministerial directive. However, should you feel that your case requires special urgent attention and cannot wait for us to mobilize requisite resources, you may apply for exemption as detailed in the form below. Then it states your name, you write your name and your ID number. He has been advised that ZETDC Western Region no longer accept any form of assistance from its customers in the provision or restoration of electricity service. I also understand that this is a corporate or ministerial directive. I am therefore at my own cost requesting that my case be given special consideration and be exempted so that I can assist ZETDC to speedily restore or provide service to me. Then it states the nature of help, then and also you are supposed to append your signature. This is to say that ZETDC, due to unavailability of resources or shortage of resources, you guys, clients, you come forward to us, then we request for a special exemption so that you can contribute funds to fund the project. But however, we received a communique from our head office in Harare, and it states that after you have contributed the funds and the project is done and closed, those funds are going to reinvest to you in form of electricity units. I think as far as I see it, it's a win-win situation. You guys will be having electricity rather than to wait for ZESA to come and install or do the project, which might take a bit of some time. Like I said earlier on, we've got quite a number of projects that are pending. I only mentioned a few suburbs, which means a lot of resources are required, but we're actually struggling to avail those resources. Things are not on our side. We're still maintaining the prevailing or the structure or the network that we already have. So I think as far as that's a bit of some background as far as ZESA is concerned, unless if there are some questions, I'm available to answer or to attend to the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koronga, for that presentation. As I said earlier on, that if you've got questions and answers for the current moment, just please place them on hold. But if you feel they're too burning, just make sure that you highlight those questions on the chat box. So for those who haven't registered, kindly ibizo isibongo sakho lapho uhlala khona. Yes, Ezina, can you kindly put can you kindly mute if possible? So bensithi nxa bekhona abalembuzo khathesi asithathi imbuzo. Sizathatha imbuzo nxa uJuliet Samson angayenza ipresentation yakhe. Okwamanje labo abangaka register ngizacela ukuthi libhale ibizo isibongo lapho hlala khona. And nxa uthi ufuna ukubhala ukuthi umbuku Residents Association uyakwanisa ukuthi ukufake lakho khona lokho. Kodwa nxa ukufaka ku chat box. Lizabona ioption ye chat box ikhona phansi khona lapho ku Zoom. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Mr. Koronga for that presentation, and ngizanikeza uJuliet Samson ithuba leli ukuthi laye enelise ukuthi ayenze eyakhe ipresentation lapho akhangela khona on ongoing electricity exercise khona ngapho eCowdray Park, ukuthi nxa kukhona mhlawumbe esibone ngani akuzwakali, we're hoping ukuthi uJuliet Samson can be able to capture all that. Over to you, Juliet.
Okay, thank you so much, Dudu. My name is Juliet Samson, a resident from Cowdray Park. I'm also a Devolution Champion from Wild Women Institute for Leadership Development. Umsebenzi wami ngikhangela izinto ze-devolution and development. How development is taking place, especially here in Cowdray Park. For now, we are looking for a project like the project, yes, sir. As a devolution champion, my concern is how the community is contributing towards that. So Mr. Goronga has clarified. I won't talk much there. I have the residents reps here. They are going to air their questions. I know there are different feelings about this project. So we are glad we are here, besides that here in Cowdray Park, definitely we are going to have electricity. It was so hard to live without electricity. So we thank you, Mr. Goronga, with your project. I will end here. I noticed that the resident reps have the questions which need to be answered by the ZETD rep. I thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Juliet, for that precise and straight to the point presentation. UJuliet uchilo wabesisithi yena kasoze endlalele yonke into angabe efisa ukuthi nga uyayitsho ngoba ubuye ehamba lama residents from Cowdray Park. Ama residents yiwo azancedisa ukuthi alethe ama concerns that Juliet was supposed to be presenting for us. But because yena she says ukuthi she is joined by ama residents, will then open up for questions and answers. Ukuthi nxa bekhona ababone ngazani bale mbuzo sibili bayachiseka ngembuzo, yiso isikhathi sona lesi sokuthi lilethe imbuzo elingabe lilayo, either based on i-presentation engabe isiyenzwe ngubaba uGoronga or based on i-brief presentation engabe iyenzwe nguJuliet Samson. So ababone ngazani bale mbuzo abafisa ukuthi ngabayibuza kathesi, yiso isikhathi sona lesi. And as I had said earlier on, nxa kuyikuthi ungena emhlanganweni wakhohlwa kumbe walibala ukuthi uregister, yiso isikhathi sokuthi uregister kathesi. Ngicela ubhale ibizo, isibongo, area that you're representing, konke lokho ukufaka ku chat box. I chat box uzayibona vele ikhona phansi khona lapho ku Zoom. Nxa kuyikuthi mbe usebenzisa i laptop uzakubona ke ungazani ngokuyi icon kwe message. So that's where you type in your name, surname, the area that you're representing, and nxa kuyikuthi uku-Residents Association, you can actually do that and include that as well. Ngiyabona kule sandla lapha esivela kuMthandazo Thebe. Over to you, Mthandazo.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I've got 3 questions. I was added onto the WhatsApp group yesterday, and already I have a lot of questions around the project. Maybe it's because I'm still new to the project, but at the same time, there are concerns that I'm worried about. So first and foremost, in the group chat, we talked about $15,000 for the stage 1 process. And there will be 2 more stages to follow from what I gathered, which we, at this moment in time, we don't have any costing. So again, there's an issue of affordability for the residents in terms of completing this project. I am worried that we are having to finance a project as residents where ZESA stands to gain more than the residents itself. In Zimbabwe only, that's the only country that I know where energy companies are running losses and having to ask money from people, from residents, to actually finance projects of this nature. Electricity, once the infrastructure is set up, you stand to make a lot more money just milking it off residents. So I don't understand why we're having to pay, for this to actually kickstart. And we're only talking stage 1. We haven't even gone to stage 2, and we don't even have a costing of how those stages will cost. So my second question, like I said, if ZESA was to finance this project, I don't know where they would access the money, but I'm sure there's a Minister of Energy in Zimbabwe that can give that money, We always hear the government is talking about development and all of that. So why not give that money? 15,000, why out of the government's pocket? That's just, you know, a drop in the ocean, really. And so, secondly, the requirements of that have been discussed in the group chat seem to be of a large scale infrastructure. And again, this stands to benefit the government and also ZESA. And for them not to actually come forward and give us something out of this is really a gross negligence in my view. So it sounds like this is a partnership, but a partnership which stands to milk us, the residents, because we'll finance the project and also we'll be paying those rates back to ZESA, and ZESA will be gaining money out of that. And you know, I'm still not convinced, you know, that we will get a fair deal out of all of this, because in Zimbabwe, as far as I know, there's no price control. So ZESA could come up and say, oh, after you finance this project, sizalinika magetsi for a certain time, where you're not paying, you know, as much as other residents will be paying. But who says that we'll have a fair deal at the end of it? Okay, so maybe the ZESA people can outline the terms and conditions of that partnership with the residents, and also give a time scale as to when, if and when we raise the money, when they will be able to provide, to start providing us with the necessary stuff for us to actually access electricity. Because I don't want us to put money into something and then have to wait 20 years to actually get electricity in our area for Cowdray Park. Thirdly, again, my question is again to ZESA. You know, I don't know if they're investing in renewable energies like solar, because again, this is a project that if they put money into it, they stand to gain a lot more, because one, the residents will be paying money for that electricity. Secondly, they will be surplus, which ZESA will harvest from those solar panels or from those solar systems, and they stand to resell that electricity to somewhere else. I know that, you know, probably they will tell us about Kariba, but we already know that Kariba, why Kariba is failing, you know, but we can invest in renewable energy in terms of solar, and then we can save our forests, and maybe we don't have to depend that much on the source from Kariba. So I want to find out from ZESA what they are doing in terms of investing in renewable energy, and how long off is that project before we can actually have energy in the form of renewable energy. And if, say, like for example, they're looking to do that in 5 years, so what is the point of us putting so much money into a project when ZESA will be doing a project that will give us sustainable renewable energy? Thank you.
Siyabonga Mthandazo, thank you so much for imbuzo elilethileyo. I don't know if Mr. Koronga, you are comfortable with responding to the questions right now, or siqale sithathe eminye imbuzo and then bese liza responder probably after sesithethe 2 or 3 more questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, siyalizwa baba.
Yeah, thank you, Mthandazo, for those questions. Maybe let me try to answer some, ask the 3 questions if I understand. Maybe let me answer what I can answer. Unfortunately, this office is a bit, it's too small an office to answer some of the questions. It needs a higher level, which is higher than my level. My office basically is on implementation side, not decision making. Some of the big decisions to make, we are more for implementation. We are more on implementation side. Maybe let me start by highlighting the procedure. Let's say you want your area to be electrified. Let me start by highlighting the procedure, because the procedure, if I highlight the procedure, some of the gray areas will be cleared, some of the questions will drop off. First and foremost, like I said earlier on, when everything is equal and everything is normal, ZETDC is supposed to be doing all those reticulation projects. But there is a huge backlog, on such reticulation project, to the extent that some clients approached our offices and requested to fund for the projects. And then their request was taken upwards, and then it was taken upwards to our higher offices, up until they come up with a model where clients fund for the project. Then ZESA or ZETDC will try to come up with a way of paying back to clients in form of units. But if you are not comfortable with the model, you can wait for ZESA to move in and do the reticulation projects. But due to unavailability or a shortage of resources, you can wait for some time. Like I said earlier on, we've got a huge backlog. Right, let me state the procedure. For example, Cowdray Park, you come up with a committee that's going to be representing everyone in Cowdray Park. That committee will approach ZETDC offices, and then we sit on a round table and discuss. If you still remember that form that I read before, when I was giving you a brief background, that form, it clearly states that if you are not comfortable, it's not like ZETDC is going to residents to say, please pay, then we do the project. It's not like that. It's the other way. Clients, they come to ZETDC, we sit down, then we explain to you that you are not supposed to be doing this, but since you have pushed, we can now engage into the project. Then what happens? The residents on themselves, they choose their own contractor. If they choose their own contract, they agree on the terms with the contractor. ZETDC, it moves in inspecting the project. Since when the project is done, it's handed over to ZETDC. So it's like we enter into what we call a tripartite agreement. A tripartite where one part is the contractor, the other part is you residents, and then the other part is ZETDC. Then about charging the project and everything, it's between the residents and the contractor. The residents shall come up with a map. They go and get a map from the Surveyor General's office. Then when they come up with that map, they sit down with the contractor. Then they agree on the charges. As far as labor is concerned, when it comes to materials or resources, they go and purchase, then they do the project. ZETDC will come up with provision of ideas in case the resident, they want some of the things to be clarified. We come there, then we clarify some of the things, then we will be inspecting the project and until it's finished. Why? Because as soon as the project is done, it's handed over to ZETDC, who will be now maintaining the network. So that's why we inspect each and every stage. Then after that, when the project is closed, that's why I said we received a communique from our head office saying that the residents will be funded or will be reimbursed for their monies in form of units. But after how long, it's not yet clear. After, the modalities, they're not yet clear. Like I said earlier on, my office is on the implementation side. As far as resources, as far as decisions are concerned, I'll be noting down the questions. Maybe I will escalate them to my superiors. Okay, I think I'm done.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga. I hope one of the questions that you will be conveying on behalf of the Devolution Champions and Wild is on what ZESA is currently doing in terms of investing in renewable energy. Because Umtandazo had asked Umbuzo Nalo Uguti, considering the current state that we're in, something needs to be done in terms of focusing on renewable energy in terms of in Zimbabwe. And I'm seeing a hand here from Juliet. Juliet Mbonengani Ulombuzo Lapo, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dudu. Thank you so much, Mr. Koronga, with your clarification. I have a question. Since if the residents approaches you for a certain project, what will be going to happen? There's a portion which already have the wires, the poles, everything left out with the transformer only. Are these residents going to contribute for those people, or these people are going to pay straight to your office if there's connecting electricity? I thank you.
Hello, thank you, Madam, for the question. If everything is up and running, let's say the wires are up, the poles are up and dressed, only provision of a transformer is left. What happens? We receive the transformers from our head office in Harare, and then as soon as the transformers come this side, we prioritize. If your project is now due for a transformer, we will give you a transformer, but it's not like the transformers, they come each and every time. For example, this year, I think we received less than 10 transformers, only this year, which means they come as and when, here and there. It's not like they come every time. But when they come, we will definitely allocate them to the clients who are now due to receive a transformer. But sometimes you find that in our network, we've got some residents who are out at the moment because of banned transformer, which means we'll give priority to those guys because they are already connected to the grid and they are out because the transformer or their transformer got banned. So in short, the transformers we receive, of course, but they are very few. It's like a drop in the ocean. Because on my list, I've got about more than 20 points which are currently out because they don't have transformers. So it's actually a challenge on my part. And also, we've come up with other mechanisms. If residents or clients are actually willing, we give them shells. We've got shells of banned transformers. And then they get those shells for free. They take them to, for example, South Wales Electric. Those transformers are rewound. And if they are okay, they can now be taken to residents. Which means at South Wales Electric, those transformers are rewound, but the price will definitely go down because there will be a shell and other components of that transformer. So these are just mechanisms to assist each other so that residents will get access to electricity. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Koronga. Maybe let me use my mother language. You have answered my question partly, but I'm saying there is a party here in Cowdray Park, near Cowdray Park Primary School. There is a section which already have everything besides the transformer. Are these people going to contribute towards the other people, or they will pay to you directly, not contributing towards to the project which is in progress today?
Okay, yeah, maybe I was trying to answer because I thought I've answered you. They don't have to pay to us directly. I'm saying if those guys are due to receive a transformer and we happen to have a transformer at our regional stores, we will definitely give those clients for free. It's not like that they have to pay for that transformer. That's one option. The other option, if we don't have a transformer, then the clients insist that they want to contribute towards the transformer. That's what I was saying. We give them a shell, which is actually cheaper. It's for example, a new transformer, maybe a 200 kVA might be going for 6,000. But after we give them a shell, they will go with that shell to South Wales Electric to get it repaired. Maybe they might end up parting with 2,500. But it's not like they will be paying that money to ZESA. It's actually a separate agreement that we do with the clients. We give them that indemnity form that I once read to you. We go through that indemnity together, basically clarifying to the residents or to their representatives that you are not supposed to be paying. You have to wait for ZESA to provide these resources. But if you think that yours is a special or it needs a special attention, that's when you sign that form. That form, maybe let me go through the other part of the form for the benefit of everyone. It goes, then it mentioned you have to write your name, ID number, you complete your ID number. He has been advised that ZETDC Western Region no longer accepts any form of assistance from its customers in the provision or restoration of electricity. On provision, that's basically new projects. Restoration may be after a fault. I also understand that this is a corporate or ministerial directive. I therefore, at my own cost, requesting that my case be given special consideration and be exempted so that I can assist ZETDC to speedily restore or provide service to me. I think it's a bit clear. We try by all means to explain to our clients as they approach our offices, so that it's not like ZETDC is asking for money from our clients. No, that's not it. And after we have explained to you, then you as clients, sometimes you say, no, since we are not sure when we are going to receive the resources, when we are going to get the resources, we are very willing to contribute towards the project. And then that's what I was explaining earlier on. We were also lobbying with our higher offices that clients are contributing. What can we do for the clients? That's when they came up with that model. To know we are going to reinvest the clients in form of what? In form of units. But this form, I think, is a bit clear. If you go through it, we try by all means to explain to our clients. They can wait for us to provide those resources. But however, if you think that you can't wait no more, you can't wait any longer, that's when you sign the form, then you can now buy the transformer. Thank you. I think I've tried to answer.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga Siyabonga ngempendulo. I hope, Juliet, you've been answered on a question at Juliet, particularly on transport. Everything seems to be there, Duzela Cowdray Park primary, but what's missing is a transformer. I hope Mr. Koronga managed to respond to that particular question. And if we're corner who've got questions, now is the time to ask imbuzo elingabe lilayo to Mr. Koronga, or probably contributions that you might have that might not necessarily be questions. Can we have someone else besides Juliet Samson? I'm sure Sibanengi Lapa, and I'm sure we all have concerns pertaining to the access or distribution of electricity. Unless Samson, someone from your end, Ongaisuwe, is the one often ukubuza umbuzo.
It's not me. I have other residents using my gadget.
It's fine. Over to them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, mina kade mfuna ukubuza ndoda kubvunza nezve iwo magesi tikufarira hedu chirongwa ichi chiri kuitika asi kana isusu takaisirwa magetsi kana tichizobisa mari tichisanganisa nevanhu isusu tine mabhenefiti api atinowana pane vanhu vaya vatinenge tabatsira because dzesa kana yakuya isusu tine mapayments atinobhadhara kugesi taachida kuziva kuti zvinenge zvichifamba sei kuti vanhu vaya vatabisira isusu zvatinowana ipapo chii.
Thank you so much for the question, Mr. Koronga. Kulombuzo lapha ukuthi siyazwisisa what you're saying ukuthi ama residents amelanga akhiphe any amount relating to e-distribution or access or installation of electricity, but ubaba lapha is saying ukuthi bona they are finding themselves sebekhipha imali yakhona. Bona yipi compensation, how are they going to benefit from khona lokhu ukuthi bebekhipha imali? I know earlier on you spoke about ukuthi they will receive imali yakhona in terms of ama units, and you also said it ukuthi you are not quite sure ukuthi imali yakhona or rather ama units akhona azabe ezafika nini, considering ukuthi napa abanye sebekhiphile and ubaba is concerned ukuthi yena akakwazi ukuthi bona baza benefita ngayiphi indlela. Over to you, Mr. Koronga. Hello, Mr. Koronga, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You
It's
can go
okay.
ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right, ndichitry kuanswer baba vabvunza vaya vaya. Project E, it's actually customer initiated or client initiated. You guys in Dima approach ama offices anditi muchiti munoda kuisirwa magetsi. Assumption yatinenge tinayo ndeyekuti imimi some representatives kana kuti secommittee groundwork yenyu matoita. Kana ndichiti groundwork yenyu matoita, it's like it's the responsibility committee kuti itaurirane nevanhu vayo. We've tatikusangana na vamwe vekuti more than half maybe vanenge vasina kuwirirana. Saka obviously the project will fall off. Asi kana mawirirana as ma residents imomo anditi mawirirana mogara pasi committee yenyu ichikumirirai anditi ndo vanozouya vo approach ama offices edu kuti no isusu tiri kubva ku Cowdray Park tawirirana kuti clients are going to contribute towards this anditi toda kuitirwa magetsi project isu patinongo advise ndepekuti imimi since it's a thing yekuti masangana as a community or as a community anditi you are supposed to come up with a constitution yenyu ndo inenge ichihighlighta everything. Isusu tawirira zvakati vane paramba kubhadhara isu tichati zvakati muchima modalities enyu ayayo munenge muchiwirirana ikoko muconstitution yenyu yamunenge muchinyorerana ikoko. But nevertheless vaya vanenge vasina kubhadhara kana kuti varamba imi ndipo munoziva zvamunenge muchiita ikoko. Isusu tikakuona makuya kuma office assumption yenu ndeyekuti matowirirana groundwork yenyu matoita. And the best that ZESA can do is to reimburse you in form of what? My units. And everything is laid down. If you are in agreement, then that's when we can do the project. If you are not in agreement, like I said earlier on, you wait. When we get resources, definitely will come. If you are now due, like I said, a backlog yakati kure. Tinongotarisa pabacklog, e.g. Cowdray Park, you have gone for more than 10 years, I know, without electricity. And this time tikawana something, tinofanira kuenda kuCowdray Park. There are quite a number of projects in Cowdray Park. Zatakatoita zokuti mapose takatoplanda, conductor takavapa. Because as and when we receive, we don't keep these resources to ourselves. Tichingoreceive, tinotongotarisa because we know who is due per time yakati. Tinotongotarisa in our records. Totoona kuti we are supposed to go to Cowdray Park. Even particularly papapo, you do the project and it na contractor. You find what I'm going to do. If you avail the map to me, I capture the project into my system or into ZESA system, and that project is now known. And then there is what we call an asset number that's going to be generated. When the project is going on, let's say you guys have bought poles and we have received the conductor. We definitely give you the conductor. We will be working hand in hand with the commit. We tell the commit, you guys will have received the conductor. Then we give you the conductor. Maybe just pay for the labor, your contractor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koronga, for the response. I hope ubaba ubeke wabuza umbuzo lo uphenduleke, like he's been responded to. Juliet. Sorry, Tamari, is it possible that you can actually put yourself on mute? Yeah. Okay, so I was saying ubaba ngapho Juliet on your end obebuza umbuzo angazi kumbe he's been responded to kumbe he's been answered.
Ndapindurwa but ndandine mumwe mubvunzo wandandisida kubvunza payments kana uchinzi 75% kana usina kubhadhara, is it yakagazetwa nezesa kana kuti isusu vanhu ndisu tiri kuzviitira? Because pane vamwe vasingawane mari, vasingawane mari nenguva, vanowana mbichana. Saka kana takuti 75% kumunhu asina mari, zvinenge zvichirevei kana kuti zvinopa munhingiri? I think zvinopa kuti munhu agozofeila kubhadhara mari yacho iyo.
All right, so siyawuzwa umbuzo lapho, and baba Koronga lingaka respond to that question. Ngicela ukuthi ngibale something engubona lapha ku chat box. Kulombuzo ovela kulezina uthi, what happens to residents that cannot afford to contribute? It's similar to the question esandabuzwa ngubaba. Over to you, Mr. Koronga.
Thank you. Right, ndichitry kuansa baba vatanga kubvunza nditi. Issue iripo ndeyekuti I am picking up something. Sometimes kana commit or my representatives enyu achiuya kuno, they are actually misrepresenting some of the facts. Because what I normally do with my projects akaita seaya, before tatanga nditi, I come to ground. I clarify everything. Per meeting where everyone will be there. Normally my weekends, that's when I normally come down there. When everyone is there, I clarify everything. Even my questions anyway. For example, if like can usinga afford 75%, who is it gazetted is what? ZESA is totally not involved in that. Izvo ndimi ma residents munowirirana. Mawirirana when everything is clear. And if you feel that ZESA inofanira kuuya ipresent, it will clarify some of the questions. We are very free to come. But imemi ndimi munotowirirana. That's why ndataura constitution yaya muno drafter yaya. It's not kuti constitution no draft was ZESA involved. No. Ndimi munotogara pasi mowirirana. Then zvamawirirana ikoko, it will be binding. Saka izesa, it's not like tinoti badara, because Marie, remember, aitombouye maoko ezesa. Aitombouye maoko ezesa. Maria munounganidza. Committee yenyu ndo basa rayo iyoyo. Like Padambotaura earlier on, issue a tripartite agreement. Tripartite iyoyo is between ZESA, contractor, and the residents. And clarify roles and responsibility each part.
Seems like we've lost Mr. Koronga. I am no longer seeing him. Okay, he's now back. Mr. Koronga, can you hear us? Mr. Koronga?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I had lost the signal. I'm saying, can I restart or?
You can continue from where you are now focusing on, and then just continue. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. I was saying about the modalities of paying and everything. It's up to the residents. ZESA is not involved in that. ZESA is not involved where money is concerned. You guys, you agree, then committee ndo inenge chibata zacho zamunenge muchicontribute. Then moenda na contractor muchibhadharana muchiita sei. Where we only come in is for inspection. We come to inspect the poles, we come to inspect the walls, we come to inspect the conductor, we come to, so that we don't use cheap quality material on the project. That's where we come in. But about who to pay what, surely we are not involved. We are not involved in that. What we are only interested in maybe is the database, maybe just showing who paid what for the sake of reimbursing in form of units. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga. You highlighted earlier on Uguti, every Saturday you may come and visit Konangapo e Cowdray Park. Maybe can you just help us in terms of our locations where you usually do those visits? Ukwenzela ukuthi abantu khona ngapha eCowdray Park can actually be able ukuthi bafinyelele lapha eliyabe likhona. Nxa belembuzo babuze ngoba I'm sure it might have been new information for amanye residents ukuthi bebengakwazi ukuthi hayi ukhona umuntu owe-ZETDC ofikayo sibili abuze imbuzo mayelana le-access le-distribution. So ngicela lisincedise ngokuthi engcela isitshela ukuthi litholakala kuziphi indawo, particularly nxa lisenza ama-rounds wona lawo. Ngiyabonga.
Okay, can I highlight something?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
It's okay. You know, like I said earlier on, these guys, the committee that would have been elected by the residents, they come to our offices with a map. Then normally on the map, we show each other. There will be segments. For example, there's Garkai phase 5, the red bricks, there's Garkai 2, there's Kalani Kuke, there's what? We normally break them down into segments. And each and every segment is represented by a committee. And work hand in hand with that committee. And I'm sure if there are some representatives on this platform, they can actually second me. They're actually in agreement with me. And it's up to the committee, they organize with me, then we make an appointment. That's when I visit. It's not like I go to Cowdray Park, then I summon everyone. No. It's like those projects, they are broken down into segments. Then each segment is represented by a committee. Then I will be liaising with the committee. If they need me, they summon me. That's how I have been operating all along.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga. At least it's now clear what you are working on. Lingabizwa a committee, that's when you actually avail ama services in. Yeah, I think it's clear. And nxa bekhona abangabe belembuzo bekhona abafisa ukuthi bayenza ama contributions abo, lesi isikhathi sakhona lingabe libuza imibuzo elingabililayo nxa uthi maybe ubone ngazani awungeke uyenze that question phambi kwethu i-chat box ikhona. You can even send a direct message to Women's Institute khona lapho ku-chat box, and then we'll read out your question. We won't say your name, we'll just read out your question. Ngiyabona lapha kule sandla esivela kuMthandazo Thebe. Over to you, Mthandazo.
Thank you again for the opportunity. This is a question that I asked group chat, also in line with the quotation that we've had. I know there's a lot of young people that probably need jobs. So in terms of manual labor and any other physical work that needs to be done, I don't know whether the contractor is coming with their own employees or not. Can that be renegotiated so that we employ our own young people who are in our local communities to, whether it's digging trenches or digging the holes for the poles, so that we cut down on that 15,000 quotation that we've been given so far? Thank you.
Siyabonga Mthandazo ngombuzo. Mr. Goronga, did you hear the question?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, over to you, sir.
Yeah, I hear the question. The residents, they're actually empowered. They are the ones who choose the contractor. And since the residents or the committee that they would have chosen is empowered to choose a contractor, ZESA is not involved in provision of contractors, which means it's actually within their powers and their negotiating skills to convince the contractor. You understand where I'm coming from? Everything is within your powers, guys. You can actually dictate what you want to the contractor. We understand that's what we call social responsibility. If you are working in an area, obviously the guys around should also benefit in a way. So it depends with your negotiating skills. You can actually dictate what you want to the contractor, as long as these guys do what is correct. There's no problem with that. I've seen, like, for example, I went to inspect another project in that same area in Cowdray Park. You know where there's a big shop, Choppies. There's a project that I went to inspect some time back. I saw some local guys, they were actually digging walls. It was actually an agreement between the committee and the contractor. So it's happening, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, the question was actually directed to the powers that be in terms of those who negotiate directly with the contractor. So because I thought this was a stakeholders meeting, so I thought they were all represented in this meeting, and I was hoping that they would respond to that question. You know, those who have been responsible with negotiating with the contractor, can that contract be renegotiated and maybe look at cutting down the costs via finding our own manual labor from our young people, whether if we agree on things, we can fund whether they need food while they work, we can sort that out from our own pockets. And also whatever that they probably, what maybe is, let's suppose we will cut down 5,000, you know, out of that, then we can look at paying them a certain fee for the work that they will have done, rather than paying it to the contractor. Therefore, we'll have young people who have done the work and also get paid and also contribute again to this project, because already we've mentioned that there's people that may not afford to pay that. It's probably because they can't afford because they don't have employment. So if we provide the employment, then they'll also be paid and then therefore come back and contribute, and everybody gains. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mthandazo, for that contribution. And thank you, Mr. Goronga, for the response that you have given us. And regarding to what Mthandazo said, Uguti, on our contractors, it's something that we'll also do a follow-up on our end as well. ukuthi sizwe ukuthi in terms of employment creation, especially for ama youth khona ngapho eCowdray Park, are they benefiting from the projects that are taking place khona ngapho? So it's something that we'll do a follow-up on. Thank you so much, Mthandazo, for raising that. And nxa bekhona abangabe belembuzo, contributions, now is the time, because meeting yethu has to come to an end. Nxa bekhona abalembuzo, yes, Juliet, I can see your hand is up. I'm sure it's someone olaye khona ngapho, since you had said ukuthi lijoyine libanengi using your device. Over to you, Juliet.
Okay, Dudu, it's someone.
Thank you very much. Mine is a question, maybe it's something like a request to Mr. Goronga. May Mr. Goronga, like what you said, do something like visiting even the residents instead of committee only. Some of these committee members might be misrepresenting people, or they might be ignorant of not knowing what to tell the residents, such that they will always meet something like a brick. Yet people, they want electricity, but because the answers they might be being given by the residents, they won't be answering them correctly. I think Mr. Koranka, next time you will visit, residents also should be involved. Make it a point, tell our committee that you need some residents to be there, so that at least we also hear from you with smile. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. And I'm sure Mr. Goronga managed to take note of that.
Yes.
Okay, just go there and relax.
All right, I'm seeing two hands, one from Lezina and the other from Umthandazo. So nzacela uLezina aqale, since Umthandazo has been contributing kakhulu. So over to you, Lezina.
Afternoon, everyone. My main concern was just adding on to what you had just mentioned now, Dudu Uguti. How are these projects and things going to benefit the local youth and local people? Because you tend to see what ZESA, half the people they use as local contractors are never from here. So my question is to ZESA, do you consult with the residents or the councillors of the certain areas that you'll be dealing with, or you just bring your own manpower?
Thank you, Lezina, for the question. Mr. Goronga, nanko umbuzo, but before you respond, ngicela ukuthi ngizwe ukuthi Umthandazo i-question angabe elayo ithini, so that you can just wrap up by responding to both questions. Over to you, Umthandazo.
Thank you. My last question, hopefully, is about the size of Cowdray Park. I've heard on the radio, Kulumani FM, when they were discussing about how Cowdray Park has grown, and there were considerations to actually move it to be a city on its own. So my question to Mr. Goronga is, with this project that we are looking at, is the electricity going to sustain our area and potentially the size of Cowdray Park? Because obviously it won't end with us. So what plans are there to actually give us energy that can sustain our area? I know at this moment in time we're discussing only our section, but as you pointed out earlier, there are some people who are also doing a similar project. So is the electricity that is available now enough to sustain our section and other sections who probably will copy what we are doing, and also look to get electricity from the same source which the whole of Bulawayo is doing? So I don't know whether you are considering giving us an outline of the sustainable electricity provision.
Thank you so much, Mthandazo, siyabonga ngombuzo. And Mr. Goronga, Nancy imbuzo isilethiwe ngabantu sebebuzile lingaphendula, and then after seliphendulile ngizabala omunye umbuzo okhona ku-chat box, and then yeah, bese lizaphendula-ke after sembalile. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Okay, thank you. About the first question, my network was a bit bad. If you kindly repeat the question, maybe if you can still remember it. Hello?
Okay, thank you. Lezina, over to you. Can you just repeat the question that you had asked?
I'd asked ZSR to say, with these contract jobs that they take, like let's just say for Cowdray Park, for example, do they consult with the local councillor, with the local residents leadership to maybe employ the youth or even the people from around that area? Do they benefit, or they just bring their own manpower? I hope that makes sense.
Okay. But I think it has been answered some time back. Let me answer it again. It's actually between you guys, the residents and the contractor. It's like ZESA is an interested party. We can't impose a contractor on you guys. Because just imagine, maybe I can give you someone whom I know, maybe I've got a company, then I give you someone whom I know, then he tend to exaggerate the prices. So when it comes to selecting the contractor, it's actually the job of the residents through their committee. They elect their committee, they empower it to do that. They choose a contractor. What we can only do is to ask the person they would have chosen to forward his papers, because there are some requisite qualification that guy has to possess for him to do such kind of job. So we would, if they choose a contractor, we kindly ask the contractor to forward these papers to our offices. Then maybe we try to look for the, to dig if he has done some similar jobs elsewhere, so that we'll be working with someone and it. So about negotiating, about bringing manpower, about you guys forwarding your guys to assist the contractor, it's purely between you and the contractor. That's what exactly what I was saying. It depends with your negotiating skills. Surely you can remember, he's your employee. You have given him a job to do. You can actually tell him what you want and forward some guys to assist, like what Tim Tanders was saying earlier on. Then on sustainability, yeah, I really admit where Cowdray Park is growing. It's actually growing. We're actually expecting at least 10,000 new customers. And on availability of power, yes, power that's there at the moment is a bit on the lower side. We cannot provide everyone. But if you know there's a substation that we are constructing there, which is Cowdray Park substation, there are actually plans on the way to finish that substation. But on the specifications, I cannot give. It's actually the planning department which is responsible for that. And we've got some clients some residents who approached our offices from, if you know, the area beyond that area, that caravan area. There's a caravan that's there. The guys who are beyond the stream, beyond there, we cannot pick them. We have no capacity. We have to wait until the substation is finished. So that's when we can pick everyone there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga, for the response. And can I just read real quick a question that I'm seeing with chat box Lapa? It's coming from Upe Sinyati. The question is, good day, Mr. Koronga. I'm from Mkanwini, and there is a section without electricity. Panemari Zakawandisa Dzirikubviswa Nema residents. Are you aware of this initiative? New section facing food for less. And then the question ngaphansi ebuye futhi afaka another contribution uphesi athi monies are going to a contractor for this Mkanwini electrical project. So before you respond, Mr. Koronga, ngicela ukuthi nithathe isandla ngapha from side ka Juliet, and then Juliet ebeseza kutsho umbuzo angabe elawo, and then that's when you can take both questions and respond to them. Over to you, Juliet.
Okay, Dudu, is someone, it's not me.
It's all right.
I said it was.
Yeah, ngizakhuluma nge-mother language. Mina laba ngilombuzo kusayidi yethu ngapha emasendini duzane le-Cowdray Park primary. Ngibona ingani kasiphendulanga umbuzo obuziweyo okuthiwe kule section eyayenziwa izesa kwafakwa konke kwathiwa kungala transformer. I-section leyi is about 100 houses. So abantu laba bayangena yini e-grouping leyi abangela amaphozu ngumbuzo wakuqala. Then okwesithu yikubuza ukuthi njengoba abantu sonke singabe sila imali abanye bengela mali, kuyenziwani ngalaba abangela mali njengoba i-project bayo sebephushile abanye, mina ngiyabe ngingela imali yokuthi ngibhadale, ngiyaphathwa njani njengomresident?
Siyabonga umbuzo. Ngicela ukuthi mbalo omunye umbuzo engiwubonayo lapho vela kuYolanda ku chat box, and then Mr. Koronga ngizacela li-address imbuzo nale engu3 yabe sibuziwe. uYolanda uthi if we wait for the substation to be completed, how long would it take? Nanko umbuzo ovela kuYolanda ufake ku chat box. Over to you, Mr. Koronga.
Yeah, thank you. On specifics, maybe let me start by this one. How long will it take for the substation to be complete or to be completed? That's about the specifics. I cannot answer on that one. It's up to the planning department. And then on people contributing huge amounts of money in Mkanwini, on that one, you know what? If things are clear, for example, like I said earlier on, comment it approaches our offices. As from we are representatives from Mkanwini, we want you guys to assist us with this project. Then about the charging of the project, it's between the contractor and the residents. But nevertheless, if the committee is not, if something is not clear, they can approach our offices, then we assist. For example, a contractor anobuda ne bill of quantities or Pama residents could this is the bill of quantities for this project. If the residents or if the committee feel like to know, I think as this is straight or as our offices are open. You can come to our offices, then we assist. Toto Kudzai. Besides, like I said earlier on, committee inonyatso kushanda hand in hand na contractor wedu. And na contractor I mean wamunenge machuzi. Pakanza atikati anoda mapose 20. It's the responsibility of the committee to go with the contractor to purchase those poles. We come in, we inspect, then you make sure that 20 poles are planted. Then my poles actually pane receipt is the responsibility of the committee to keep track of the receipts. You can actually accompany the contractor to go and purchase in case I'm going to inflate my prices. It's the responsibility of the committee. Munenge mato dedicator kutotaka kutoshandana na contractor per project. Saka there is no way contractor maybe anogona kuinflate per labor. But that's why you have to summon 3-4 contractors. Then you compare. You can actually go as far as interviewing the contractors. Then you choose whom we want, or you choose the one we want. Because these guys will be competing, remember, they want a job. They will be competing. So they try to minimize my charges from my labor, papa. So I choose, there is no way I'm not Bobirwa na contractor. It's unfortunate, kana project yenyu yakakurisa, but normally hakunyanyi kusiyana, because if the project is small and here basically kuma high densities, atiti mastands anopiwa per square meter nditi. Saka zvazvinoita ndezvekuti hazvinyanyi kusiyana, zvinoita sekuti zvine a direct relationship size yeproject nemari yamunenge muchibhadhara. Because kana land yacho yakakura, which means ine madzimba dzakawanda, which means my contributions acho is divided by the number of households. Kana area iri doko, which means dzimba dzacho dzakaita shoma, and the cost of the project is what? Inenge iri small, divided by the number of households. Saka hazvinyanyi kusiyana. For example, talking from experience, guys from Pelandava West, I think each contributed around $350, and the project was done. And so there's no way you put my funds in unless Panama. But every contractor will not choose. You guys, the committee has to work hand in hand with the CESA and hand in hand with the contractor, such that everything is clear. My gray areas are. I don't know, can I put a question? My network is a bit bad. Not I could have missed some of the questions. Maybe is an answer. You can say them out.
All right, thank you, Mr. Koronga. I think you responded to all the 3 questions that we highlighted. I'm going to questions from the one day Kuluma Ngemkanwini and Yonale substation and Lainale in terms of laba bangakwanisiyo ukuthi bakhiphe imali ukuthi kwenzakalani njengoba ayisiso sonke isikhathi phela ukuthi umuntu imali uyabelayo. So I'm seeing there's isandla esiphakanyisiweyo ngapha on side ka Juliet. I'm sure it's one of abanye attende labo meeting. Over to you, Juliet Konangapo.
Okay, to do. It seems the person is answered. Okay.
All right, that's fine. Now we would see answered. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
My request was on Mr. Koronga. I said, may he please come. He must visit, not for the committee members' sake, but even for the residents. Why? You were talking, he even pointed it out to him. Some committee members might be misrepresenting people. So if he comes, he must make sure he also sees some residents, because we will be having some questions to these committee people. We are the ones we have them. We are the ones who may be chosen, but they won't be having answers. All the answers, like the type of material which we want, you will be given in parts and bits and pieces, instead of just being told we'll be needing this and this and this, and all the monies will be going up to 100 per person. After we've sat down and Sibonisan, so that we will prepare those monies, because at times we'll find that our committee will come to us and say, the contractor said he wants to put about 20 poles. But in a deadline, after some minutes, they change. I want to be having the money on time, and I will be penalized. And ZESA, when you are going to give us those units, hey, with the user, the monies I have used to buy that user, it will be very expensive. So I'm saying, Mr. Koronga, visit the community, see residents too, so that you can help us.
Okay, siyabonga Mr. Koronga. I'm sure lizwile lapho bayacela eCowdray Park ukuthi nxa lifika Cela ukuthi libone ama residents lingalandi i-committee kuphela, as you had said earlier ukuthi it now feels like ama committees are misrepresenting ama concerns ama residents, because nangu mama uyatsho ukuthi uyabe hambile la lesikhalazo ku committee ukuthi ikenelisa ukuthi akhiphe imali, but vele ngani akula option for negotiations. Lingabe lilakho kokutsho Mr. Koronga?
Okay, just a brief comment or a brief explanation. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Koronga, you can go ahead, it's okay.
It's okay, thank you. Comment, like these days, you know, I think everyone understands because of COVID issues. And if residents what decide that no, we want to contribute towards this project, definitely there's a dealing everyone. Then there's a dealing empowerment. Who is the committee? Committee, you know what I normally do. Committee, but before we start the project or before the project starts, committee, then they organize a day where everyone or almost everyone is free, which is, for example, Sunday. Then they call the residents. Then we come there, we respond to all the questions, we answer, we explain everything, even the procedure before the project starts. That's what I normally do. It's unfortunate that maybe on this platform, my committee members or committee, it seems like I think I mean, but I normally go there. Committee is just there to relay information on my residents to ZESA, and also in order you want ZESA to issue my residents. Some they even create a group. Roguti my questions, Chunguma answer per group. For example, we've got a project in Mgamini where we actually created a group, because that's the way we have to take it because of COVID pandemic. So a project is at Yatanga, Ikoko Cowdray Park, project is at Yatanga, my representatives one nowhere, then we make an appointment. They call everyone, my residents, very free. My Sundays, my Saturday. I come down, I answer my questions, I clarify everything. Ndoa kuti zvinofamba sei project ichange ichifamba yakadai so uye kuti vanhu vazive kuti no, it's not ZESA iri kupusha kuti you guys contribute. It's actually you, my residents, vanenge vachida kuti project ifambe. So you contribute towards the project yoitwa. Then when the project is done, that's when ZESA can now come in and reinvest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koronga, for the response. I hope Ngapo Umama has usetholile response based on umbuzo ade ubuzile, particularly ngakhona ukuthi is it possible ukuthi nxa kuvuma Mr. Koronga akwanisa ukuthi nxa eyafinyelela i-committee afike la kuma residents as well. But to Mr. Koronga, I'm sure use respondile. Am I right? Kumama ngapho bebuzile on side ka Juliet.
I'm not satisfied. I've never missed any meeting in this area. I don't know Mr. Koronga. That's why I'm saying when he comes now, please also see us. It's just a request. If he had visited us, I've never missed any meeting. Those Sundays, I haven't. So all along I've been saying, where is Mr. Koronga, so that is these questions, can't we be given such to him? So if he says what he said, no, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sure Mr. Koronga usezwile civil.
Through you, Chair.
Yes, over to you, Mr. Koronga.
Maybe just a question. The Chairman Wawundiani, can a secretary or any member of the committee project yawo?
Maybe
I can repeat the question. Mama Juliet, who is your chairperson for your area? Chairperson, secretary, or treasurer, or any member of the committee?
okay.
Maybe the name.
Vice Chair Mr. Gwebo. Chairperson Mrs. Move.
Yes, the project started.
Yes, the project has started, Mr. Goronga, but we have realized there is misrepresentation. Some of the issues will be said, Zesa had said, Zesa had said. So that's why the residents, they have such questions. That's why they are asking you here. So thank you so much, Mr. Goronga.
Okay.
Then,
it's okay.
It's okay. So sorry, I'm talking too much. We had some other time, people were saying it's difficult to have electricity before sewer. How do you comment about that? We don't have sewer here.
Yeah. Hello, can I comment?
Oh, yes, you can go ahead.
It's okay. That's why we need a plan. There's a map that you come to our offices with. And on that map, everything is clear. Everything will be stated. Normally, the sewer will be, let's say, half a meter from your,
Thank you so much.
You can go ahead, Mr. Koronga.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I said before the project starts, you need to come with a map. And on that map, there will be designs. Everything will be clearly stated on the map. It's not like we just choose, but no, the line has to go this way. We'll be following the designs on the map. And normally, ZESA lines, it's 1 meter from.
It seems we've lost Mr. Koronga. It seems we've lost Mr. Koronga. I'm sure he's trying to reconnect so that he can go ahead with the presentation that he was making with regards to the sentiments that were raised from Juliet. And yes, Mr. Koronga is now back. Hello, Mr. Koronga. Mr. Koronga, can you hear us? Mr. Koronga? Hello, Mr. Koronga, can you hear us? You can go ahead with your contribution. You were responding to Loko Bekukhulunywe ngapha ngumama from Eastside Eyabo Juliet. I'm thinking network yakhe is a bit shaky because he was with us just a couple of seconds ago and I can't seem to be seeing him anymore here. If there are any more questions, feel free to use the chat box because vele isikhathi sethu sokumele ukuthi ngasiyagqiba umhlangano. Nxa kuukuthi bakhona baloku okokutsho ngicela bahle batsho kathesi. I'm seeing Mr. Koronga is back. Hello, Mr. Koronga. Mr. Koronga, can you hear us?
I can now hear you.
Yes, yes. It seems like we had a bit of connection problem on your end because you just disappeared. So Belisa Kuluma, so you can go ahead, sir.
It's okay. what I was saying, it's not like we just go out there and do a project. That's why I was saying we need to come up with a map. We need to bring a map. And on that map, there will be designs on it, which shows how our lines are going to move in your area. And normally, ZESA lines in the residential areas, in the high density areas, we are normally a meter from the demarcation, from the line. And sewer, if I am not mistaken, they are about half a meter from the demarcation. So there's no way we are going to interfere with each other. Unless if it's not clear, I mean, it's not stated on the map. But normally we follow the designs on the map and we've never gone wrong. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga, for that response. There's a contribution lapha chat box from Umavis Falala from EDP Foundation. Utiena, it is really sad we have had to contribute as lines are stolen almost every week in our area. Use Bellevue. And then there's another question from Tandazo. When is our next stakeholders meeting in respect of this project? We'll keep you informed in terms of Uguti Sizabesile stakeholders meeting Nini. We'll definitely use our structures on the ground Konangapo Cowdray Park. Now we will see next stakeholder meeting. But lay Egafalala, I think it needs Mr. Koronga and in relation to Konaloku Uguti they are contributing Uguti Bangete in terms of Uguti will restore ama lines abo angajonjwa. So over to you, Mr. Koronga.
Yeah, it's actually a crisis. These guys, they are stealing every day. So maybe as they started.
Watchman. Can you kindly mute on your end? Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Koronga.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's unfortunate and it's actually a crisis on our side. These guys, they are stealing like nobody's business. Each day in, day out, they are out there stealing. So we are actually pleading with our clients. If you Mugawana gets maybe just look at your nearest line. If there's nothing that's going on, because and surely the best man to do it or to assist us is you residents. Maybe you can come up with my strategies, like for example in Richmond, they've come up with my night watch one patroller at least, and a number of guys were caught and handed over to police. And Zikadar one some time was in. And on our side, strategy I took to it Tikawana Contractor, we rip all the copper because it seems like these guys are thirsty for copper. So we rip down all the copper, we replace with aluminium. But the challenge at aluminium is not coming semi-derived, but it's actually on our plans to harvest all the copper from our network and replace with aluminium. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga, for that response. If there are any more questions, ngicela sihle sibuze kathesi ukwenzela ukuthi sigqibe umhlangano. Njengoba umhlangano wethu ngibona ngani usuthatha isikhathi eside sibili. So nxa bekhona abalembuzo ngicela liphakamise izandla libuze. Nxa kuyukuthi lingenelisa ukuthi libuze sibili verbally, you might as well use the chat box. I'm seeing a contribution from Umavis Ngiyadeke wabuza earlier ukuthi ube ngabuzanga ube lethi contribution esithi we have had to contribute as lines are stolen almost every week in our area. Mavis goes on to say we do have a neighborhood watch, and Donington police are part of that, but still it happens. So it seems like civilly it's a crisis, as Mr. Koronga has said, in as much as they try that they can, still abantu they go ahead and steal ama cables in different suburbs. Contributions, feel free to bring in those contributions so that we close our meeting. So for those who've got contributions to make, feel free to bring in those contributions so that we can actually close the meeting. All right, so I'm not seeing any more contributions in the chat box. I'm not seeing any more hands that are raised. So I'll take it ukuthi sesibuzile sa exhausta yonke imibuzo singabe silayo. Okay. All right, Mthandazo, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to appreciate the time and the engagement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm seeing a hand from Isai Juliet Samson. Yes, Juliet.
Okay. Ngizile umbuzo ukuthi ku area ethu kule area about 100 houses eyafakwa intambo zamagetsi lamapole ngabantu bezesa. Kwakuyi project eyayisiya esikolo, but thina ama lines ethu abenefita kuona la ama-poles. Bengibuza ukuthi njengoba sabenefita sibalelwa kulaba abangela ama-poles yini? Umbuzo wami lo abamphendulanga, ngasala lokho ngilombuzo ukuthi sibalelwa ngaphi, sibanjani, ngoba thina osokusele ukuthi bazositshela ukuthi senze njani ukuthi siconnecte ezindlini, yikho kuphela okusele.
Ngiyabonga umbuzo Mr. Koronga, ngicela liphendule nanku umbuzo ovela kumama ngapho kuside ka Juliet.
Yeah, my Ndebele is not that good. Maybe through you, Chair, can you interpret the question to me? Maybe I can answer back.
Okay, so from what the contributor was saying, the question is, Bona, they are currently faced with the problem of access to electricity and they don't have electricity, but it seems like all the necessary steps that needed to be taken, ukuthi bathole that electricity, have been done, but they still don't have electricity and they don't know which, just confirm, Mama, ukuthi liwiphi area so that Mr. Koronga can respond accordingly. Hello, Juliet ngapho kumuntu wena lwade buzile ngicela atsho ukuthi ukuyiphi area exactly.
It's okay. Okay, Dudu, let me help Mr. Koronga. I will interpret in Shona a question.
Thank you.
All right. Vati mama awa vari padhuze neCowdray Park primary pane 100 houses dzaka benefita from ZESA, pane mapole netambo. Magetsi aidhonzwa achienda pachikoro, kwasara transformer. Saka vanhu 100 houses idzi vanocontributa here kuna contractor uyu kana kuti vanomirira ZESA? Ndo mubvunzo wamama ava.
Okay. Can I answer now?
Yes, you can, Mr. Koronga.
Yeah, I remember the boy answer for the question here. Dichiti zoni, let me repeat myself. Dichiti zoni, you unomirira ZESA kana ma transformers auya kana mava due for allocation we allocate you. The other option that is there, munouya, then mauya kuma offices edu, tinogona kukupai yatinoti kakas, kana kuti transformer inenge yakatsva iyai. Yoenda inoitwa rewinding. Yaitwa rewinding, then makutoisiwa. So it's not like what you are saying, contribute, you can wait for ZESA. Like zvakamboitika ipapo kuti makato benefita mapause. ZESA ipapo tatine zvinhu. Like I said earlier on, zvinhu tinozviwana here and there. And patinenge zviwana, vanenge vatova due to receive, we give them. Saka makawana mapause, mukawana maconductor, tikatokudhonzerai everything. Chasarai transformer. But at the moment, we don't have transformers. But when we get transformers, and you guys, when you are now due for that transformer, we give you. Like I said, quite a number of pending projects. So I will be simply going to my list and don't know what equals transformer, very due to receiving the rapid, then do bandato happen. It's not only your area that is due to, that doesn't have a transformer. We've got quite a number of places that would have transformers. Like Janamotara, we've got more than 20 points. The number transformers are outstanding. Agatosha. Saka Mango Ju, if you get something, we give you. But if you feel that your situation has to be treated otherwise, like formula number, you are free to come to our office, we discuss, then to one sana mama. Our doors are open. You can come anytime you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koronga. Juliet Ngapo, have you been answered?
Okay, we have answered, Judu. He answered very clearly. There was mixed feelings here. The committee was saying those benefited from ZESA, they are not going to connect the electricity. They must contribute towards those that doesn't have the resources. So Mr. Goronga answered it very clearly. I thank you, Dudu.
Thank you so much, Juliet and your team, Konangapo. If we don't have any more questions, allow me ukuthi sivale umhlangano. Is that it? Are we okay with imbuzo so that we can close the meeting? Okay, I'll take you to Guti. We are okay with Imbuzo Sesibuzile and we're satisfied with the responses that we got. I would like to thank Mr. Koronga on behalf of the Women's Institute for Leadership Development for taking your time to join us for today's stakeholder engagement meeting. I'll take it that it was very fruitful. Abantu, they managed to ask questions that they had, raise the concerns that they had regarding to access and the distribution of the electricity, particularly at Cowdray Park. But I'm glad today's meeting didn't just touch on Cowdray Park. We're seeing issues emerging from areas such as Mkanwini, areas such as Bellevue, people bringing out some of the concerns or mishaps that they are noticing in their area. Electricity cables are being stolen and they're expected to contribute, and at times imali zakhona ziba too exorbitant for them. We thank you so much for those concerns and the questions that came in. And as I had said, thank you so much, Mr. Koronga and your team for making time for us and meeting up with our residents. And I hope regarding to our suggestions that were brought in and our concerns that were brought in, Mr. Koronga on our behalf can actually take them up to his superiors, especially when it comes to what are we doing in terms of trying to utilize renewable energy, particularly at a time when Kates in Joba Sibon abantu are still being victims to electricity cables. And we thank each and every person or manager contributions that you brought in are very much important, and as I've said. And in case maybe the first bit of today's discussion, you can always tune into each channel on YouTube. That's where you can actually get hold of the rest of the meeting. Now we would join in late, and as well as Facebook. That's when you can actually find today's engagement. Maybe you joined in late, but thank you so much on behalf of eWomen's Institute for Leadership Development. We look forward to seeing you in future activities. And thank you once again. As I've said, I hope thank you.
Thank you.